Hi guys, welcome to podcast 42 of guitar making with Andy Evans' Aevo guitars. Okay, so I'm making a fingerboard at the moment. I've just bought a big block of Aevo, it's called. It's a very hard wood from Africa. It weighs a ton. It polishes up a bit like ebony, dark rosewood ebony. This has got some interesting bits of grain in it. I just spotted it in a timber yard, so I thought I'd pick it up and give it a go. It's quite hard to work with. It probably blunts all my blades, on my saws. But anyway, I'm going to carve the radius by hand with a hand plane. I'll show you a close up there. You can see what it sort of looks like. It's not polished yet, but once it's all sanded and polished, it should look quite good. It's very hard. It's absolutely so heavy. Okay, so the way I do it normally, I use, if I'm going to do it by hand, I do have a jig for doing this, but I'm just not in the mood for setting up my jig, and by the time I've set it all up, it's probably quicker to do it by hand with a plane, So I've got some double-sided tape on here. This is going to stick down. I've given it a wipe with alcohol because it's very greasy wood, this, so just to make sure it sticks onto my double-sided tape. There you go, that's stuck down. I'm just going to use, to start with, just to get the radius, just a normal hand plane. I should have a longer one really, but for now this is all I've got. So I'm going to start with this. Basically, if you're going to play it by hand, you follow the strings, the angle of the strings, and sort of playing the edges first at that angle. I'm probably going to do a 25 centimetre radius here, 30 here. I think that's correct. I normally do it in inches, so it'd be a 10-inch radius and a 12 here. In the future, I'm going to make some old Fender type radiuses on the fingerboard. The 7.5-inch at this end radius. I quite like the idea of doing that. I like the old 50s strats, 50s and 60s strats. That really big radius, well, small radius, but it feels tighter, if you know what I mean. So here goes with a bit of planing, a bit of elbow grease to get this down. I thought about fingerboards actually, and if you're not really set up, if you haven't got all your machines set up ready to go to make them, if you're beginning making guitars, it's probably easy. It's one of the hardest things to do, your fingerboard. Mark your fret slots, do the radius, buy the wood. If you don't buy the wood cut to size, you've got to cut a big block up, which is hard to do. It ruins your tools. So for €20, I think about $25 or €30, you can get a radius fingerboard with the slots already cut in ebony or rosewood. I'm not quite sure the prices, but it's roughly around that estimate, about $30, $40, €30, €25. So if you're making your own guitar, as I say, I find it the hardest thing to do, making fingerboards. And it's the most time-consuming thing to do, unless you're set up for it. You need a big workshop, a certain machine for this, a certain machine for this, and you just go from one to the other. And in one day, instead of just making one fingerboard, you'd make 10 or something. 30 years ago, we had a great fingerboard making machine. It made 12 fingerboards in about an hour and a half, and it radiused it and it cut the slots, and you could also sculpt them if you wanted, all with this one machine. It's like basically a conical shaped barrel, 12 guitars on it, and it turned like that, and as it turned, the planer worked its way along, just the electric hand planers, electric machine planers about this big, worked its way along some threaded bar, and you left it going. It turned like that. The machine that turned the cone around the threaded bar, around the planer, and it did a nice radius, compound radius. To say in about an hour, you just switched it on, it would do 12 radiuses perfectly. And then we had a big thing to do in the fret slots. Lots of little mini saws on a big, I think they're called arbors, I'm not quite sure, but on a big thing like that, you pushed it in. And you did, within 2 hours, you had 12 necks, radius, all the fret slots done, and you also the option to do scalloping as well, which is fantastic. He's a bit of an inventor, my old boss, Gordon Whitten, Gordy Guitars, ex-Gordon, the guy who started Gordon Smith's off. He was a very good inventor. He used to invent some amazing machines to do stuff. So maybe in the future, if I'm up and running, maybe I'll make one of those machines. Not right now, it's quite complicated, but maybe in the future. Alright guys, stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching. See you next time.